After 75, 99% of serious health issues come from these 5 causes. Protect yourself today. Hey there, my friends. How are you doing today? I'm Emily Carter, and I'm so happy you're joining me here at Senior Wisdom. But first, I have to ask, where are you tuning in from today? I'd love to hear from you, so go ahead and drop a comment with your city or state down below. It's always so inspiring to know where my listeners are, and it helps us all feel more connected. Now, I know you might be asking yourself, Emily, why are we talking about health issues after 75? And what's the big deal about the 5 causes? Well, let me tell you, I've been there. As I'm getting older, I've had my fair share of health concerns, just like many of you. But I also learned something very important along the way. We have the power to protect ourselves. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that as we age, things start to change. Our bodies don't work the way they used to. Some days it feels like just getting out of bed is a struggle, right? I get it. But here's the thing. Most serious health issues after 75 don't come out of nowhere. There are 5 main causes behind them, and if we know what they are, we can do something about it. So stick with me until the end of this episode, and I promise you'll walk away with some important tools and tips to protect yourself today. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Now, let's dive into the first big cause we need to talk about. But before we do, have you subscribed to the Senior Wisdom channel yet? If not, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. You'll get the latest tips and stories delivered straight to you. You won't regret it. Let me take a moment to share something from my own experience. A few years ago, I was going through some health issues. I found myself tired all the time, struggling with my heart health, and feeling like I couldn't keep up with the things I used to love doing. I even started feeling a little bit worried. Can you relate to that feeling of concern creeping in as you age? But I soon learned that one of the leading causes of serious health problems in older adults, especially those over 75, is heart disease. Yes, you heard me right. It's something that doesn't always get talked about, but it's one of the biggest threats to our well-being as we age. And guess what? It's something we can control with the right choices. When I started learning more about heart health, I discovered some pretty shocking statistics. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, heart disease is the leading cause of death for older adults in the U.S. And the scary part is that it's often preventable. You see, many of us don't realize that our daily habits, things like diet and exercise, play a huge role in keeping our hearts healthy. For me, it was all about changing my lifestyle. I wasn't eating the healthiest, and I wasn't getting enough exercise. I was busy, just like most of us, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But then, I started to notice changes in how I felt. My energy was low, and I couldn't walk as far without getting winded. That's when I decided enough was enough. I began making small changes, and over time, I noticed a huge difference. I started eating more fruits and vegetables, cutting back on salt and processed foods, and I started walking every day, just a little at a time. Do you know what happened? My energy levels went up, I started sleeping better, and I felt more like myself again. It wasn't easy, but I promise you it was worth it. So, how about you? Have you been paying attention to your heart health lately? If not, I challenge you to start today. And if you agree that heart health is important, drop a heart health in the comments. Let's start a conversation about how we can support each other in living our best, healthiest lives. Now, let's talk about another serious issue that can sneak up on us: cancer. This one is close to my heart, as I've seen family members and friends struggle with it. I know it's not something we like to think about, but the truth is, cancer is more common as we age, and it's one of those health issues that we need to be vigilant about. The good news is, there are things we can do to lower our risk. And let me tell you, when I was diagnosed with a minor health scare a few years ago, it forced me to take a step back and really think about what I could do to stay healthy. That's when I realized the importance of regular screenings. I hadn't been as diligent about them in the past, but now I make sure I get checked regularly. It's a small step that makes a big difference. How about you? Have you had a screening lately? If you haven't, I highly recommend talking to your doctor about what screenings are right for you. Trust me, Catching things early can save lives. If you're on board with this, comment prevention below. And don't forget to subscribe for more valuable tips. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that affects so many older adults: respiratory diseases. As we age, our lungs don't work as well as they used to. I remember when I started having trouble catching my breath after walking up the stairs. It was a wake-up call for me. It turns out, respiratory issues are more common in seniors, and they can lead to serious complications if not addressed. One thing I learned was how important it is to avoid smoking and air pollutants. I've always tried to keep my home as fresh as possible, but I didn't realize how much dust, mold, and chemicals could affect my lungs. Once I made an effort to clear up the air in my house, I could feel the difference in my breathing. It's not about being perfect, it's about being proactive. So, are you aware of the air quality in your home? Do you have any tips for keeping your lungs healthy? If you think respiratory health is important, type "breathe easy" in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. I could go on and on about the things I've learned, but I'll stop here for now. Just remember, we have the power to take charge of our health, no matter our age. We just need to know what to look for and how to protect ourselves. Stick with me until the end of this episode, and you'll learn how to take action on all of this to live a healthier, more active life. And once again, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who might need to hear this. Your health matters, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let's keep moving forward, together. Alright, let's dive into another key issue: respiratory diseases. This one can sneak up on you, especially as we get older. We tend to think of lung health as something only people with bad habits need to worry about, but let me tell you, that's simply not the case. As we age, our lung capacity and function naturally decline, and that's when we start noticing that things like walking up the stairs, carrying groceries, or even talking for long periods can leave us winded. I'll be honest, I didn't think much about my lungs when I was younger. I had always been fairly active and didn't smoke, so I assumed I was in the clear. But as I got older, I started to feel more out of breath. I remember one day, I had just walked a few blocks to a local coffee shop, and by the time I reached the door, I felt like I had run a marathon. It wasn't just me being out of shape, my lungs were starting to tell me something wasn't quite right. I knew I had to take action. Now, let me share with you something I discovered through research. According to the American Lung Association, lung function typically peaks in our 20s and begins to decline as we age, especially after 40. And for older adults, this decline can result in serious health issues, including chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, emphysema, or even lung cancer. It's a scary thought, isn't it? But here's the thing: respiratory diseases are preventable to some extent, and you can take steps to protect your lungs. One of the first things I did was take a good hard look at my environment. I started noticing things I hadn't before: dust, mold, and even fumes from cleaning products that I was using in the house. These things weren't just affecting my asthma but could have been impacting my lung health in a bigger way. If you've been noticing similar symptoms, like shortness of breath or a constant cough, it's worth considering what might be in the air around you. Cleaning out your home and making sure it's free of dust, mold, and chemicals is a small change that can have a big impact. One thing that helped me a lot was using a HEPA filter in my air purifiers and keeping the windows open when I could to let in fresh air. I can't stress enough how important it is to stay on top of these things, and the good news is that even small changes can make a big difference. Another tip I can share with you is to keep up with your flu shots and pneumonia vaccines. If you've ever had the flu or pneumonia, you know how hard it can be on your respiratory system, and those of us over 75 are at an increased risk. It's so easy to brush it off as just another shot, but trust me, it's worth it. I started getting my flu shots regularly, and it was one of the best decisions I made. If you're with me on this, and you think it's time to start taking your respiratory health more seriously, I want to hear from you. Comment "breathe easy" below if you're committing to keeping your lungs as healthy as possible. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I have more tips coming your way to help you live your healthiest life. Now, let's talk about something else that's important to all of us as we get older: cognitive decline. I know many of you are probably thinking, "Emily, what can I do about dementia and Alzheimer's?" And that's exactly what I want to dive into. It's scary to think about losing our memory or mental clarity, but the truth is, it's something we all need to consider as we age. I've had friends and family members who've been affected by dementia, and it's tough to watch. But here's the silver lining: you can take steps today to protect your brain health. For me, one of the most eye-opening moments was when I realized I was forgetting simple things more often. Where did I put my glasses? What was I going to say next? It wasn't a huge deal at first, but I knew I had to stay sharp. That's when I started doing things that I knew could improve my brain health. I began doing puzzles regularly, like crosswords and Sudoku, just to keep my mind active. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about making sure I was exercising my brain as much as my body. And you know what? I noticed a real difference. The more I worked on it, the more I felt like my mind was getting sharper again. I also started doing more reading and even learning new things, like cooking new recipes and taking up a new hobby. Keeping my brain engaged became just as important as staying physically active. It's all about keeping the mind in motion. But it's not just about mental exercises. The more I talk to healthcare professionals and read about brain health, the more I realize that social interaction plays a huge role in preventing cognitive decline. I made an effort to spend more time with friends and family, even if it was just talking on the phone or over video chat. The more we stay connected with others, the more we're helping our brains stay healthy. Let me ask you, when was the last time you did something to challenge your mind? If you haven't been keeping your brain active, now might be the time to start. I'd love to hear what you do to keep your mind sharp, so feel free to share your tips in the comments. If you're on board with improving your brain health, comment "Brain Boost" below. And remember to subscribe to stay updated on more tips to protect your mind and body. Now, let's get to the last big issue that many of us face: falls and fractures. I know it's something no one wants to think about, but the truth is, falls are one of the most common and dangerous accidents for seniors. I've had my own experience with this, and it's a real eye-opener. A few years ago, I tripped on a rug in my living room, and although I didn't fall hard, it was a reminder of how fragile our bodies become as we age. I started thinking about all the ways I could prevent falls, and I learned some valuable tips that I want to share with you. The first thing I did was go through my home to check for tripping hazards. You wouldn't believe how easy it is to overlook something as simple as a loose rug or a poorly placed piece of furniture. But those things can cause serious accidents. I made sure to keep walkways clear and added grab bars in my bathroom. These small changes made me feel much safer in my own home. Another thing I did was start a balance and strength training routine. I didn't have to join a gym. Simple exercises like standing on one leg or using light weights can improve your balance and strength. And let me tell you, it made a world of difference. I felt more stable and confident, and it gave me peace of mind. If you're concerned about falls and want to make your home safer, I'd love to hear from you. Comment "Stay upright" below if you're taking action to prevent falls in your own life. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next episode. Alright, my friends, we've covered a lot today, from heart health to cancer prevention, respiratory diseases, brain health, and fall prevention. These are all issues that affect us as we age, but with the right knowledge and proactive steps, we can protect ourselves and live healthier, more vibrant lives. Alright, my friends, I hope you're still with me and feeling empowered. We've already talked about some critical health issues that many of us face as we age, and how we can take action to protect ourselves. But there's another huge topic that we need to dive into: respiratory diseases. Now, I know this one might not always be at the top of our minds, but trust me when I say, it's something we can't afford to overlook. As I'm getting older, I've become much more aware of how much our respiratory health impacts our quality of life. And it wasn't until I started feeling out of breath while doing everyday activities that I realized how important it was to pay attention to my lungs. I remember the first time I felt like I couldn't catch my breath after just a short walk down the street. It was a simple stroll, but I was huffing and puffing like I had just run a marathon. It scared me. I knew I had to make some changes. But before I share the steps I took to improve my respiratory health, let's talk about why this is such an important issue. Did you know that, according to the American Lung Association, chronic respiratory diseases like COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, are one of the leading causes of death in seniors over the age of 75? It's a silent problem that sneaks up on you. You might think it's just the result of aging, but the truth is, many respiratory issues are preventable and manageable if you take the right steps. And here's something even more shocking: cigarette smoke isn't the only culprit when it comes to lung health. Air pollution, dust, mold, and even harsh chemicals found in cleaning products or household air fresheners can have a significant impact on your lungs. I'll be honest, I didn't think about these things much before. I thought as long as I wasn't smoking, I was fine. But I soon learned how many little things around us can actually harm our respiratory system. Once I started paying attention to my environment, I was shocked at the things I had been exposed to for years. If you've noticed yourself feeling out of breath more often or having difficulty breathing after routine activities, it might be a sign that it's time to take a closer look at your lungs and how you're protecting them. Don't wait for things to get worse. Start today, just like I did. Let me share with you some of the changes I made to improve my lung health. First of all, I cleaned up the air in my house. You wouldn't believe how much dust, mold, and other allergens can accumulate without us realizing it. I bought a high-quality air purifier, especially for the rooms where I spend the most time, like my bedroom and living room. I also made sure to clean out my air vents and get rid of any old air fresheners that were filled with chemicals. It was a small step, but it made a huge difference in how I felt. But it didn't stop there. I also started taking steps to improve my general physical health. One thing I learned was that exercise is crucial for lung health. I know, the word exercise can sound like a chore, especially when you're not feeling at your best. But trust me, even small amounts of physical activity can strengthen your lungs and improve your breathing capacity. I started by simply walking more. Even if it was just a short walk around the block or up and down the stairs a few times, I noticed that I was feeling less winded over time. And here's the kicker: if you're over 75, getting a flu shot and pneumonia vaccine is a game changer for your respiratory health. It's one of those things that's easy to overlook, but I promise you, it's worth it. I made sure to get mine every year, and since then, I've been healthier and less prone to respiratory infections. Plus, it's a simple step that could save you from serious complications like pneumonia, which can be life-threatening for seniors. If you're wondering whether you should get these vaccines or if they're right for you, I highly recommend speaking with your doctor. They can give you specific advice based on your health history. But just know that by taking care of your lungs, you're investing in your future. And the good news is, you don't have to wait until you have serious symptoms to start making these changes. Let's pause for a moment. I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced difficulty breathing or felt out of breath more than usual? Or maybe you've made some changes in your home to improve your lung health. Drop a comment below with "Breathe Easy" if you're taking steps to protect your respiratory health, and let me know what's been working for you. We're all in this together, and by sharing our experiences, we can support each other. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to the Senior Wisdom channel if you haven't already. I'm here to bring you more tips on living a healthy and happy life as we age. Hit that notification bell, so you never miss out on important updates that could make a big difference in your life. Now, let's continue down this road to better health by focusing on something that we all value: keeping our minds sharp. I don't know about you, but I can't stand the thought of losing my memory or not being able to enjoy the things I love because my brain isn't functioning at its best. And while it's a tough topic to approach, we've got to talk about dementia and Alzheimer's disease. As we get older, the risk of cognitive decline increases, and it can be a scary thought. But the truth is, you don't have to accept it as a given. There are things we can do right now to keep our brains healthy and active. I realized this firsthand when I started forgetting simple things, like where I put my keys or what I was about to say. It wasn't a big deal at first, but over time, it started to make me wonder, what if this is the beginning of something bigger? Instead of letting those thoughts overwhelm me, I decided to do something about it. I started exercising my brain. It didn't have to be anything fancy, just simple things like reading more, doing crossword puzzles, and even trying new hobbies. I started learning how to cook new recipes, which really helped keep my brain engaged and sharp. When you challenge your brain, it's like giving it a workout, and just like with physical exercise, it helps strengthen the connections in your brain. But there's more to it than just mental exercises. I also focused on staying socially connected. I can't stress enough how important it is to maintain relationships as we get older. Having regular conversations with friends and family, whether in person or over the phone, helps stimulate your brain and keeps you mentally active. Isolation can be a huge factor in cognitive decline, so making time for social interaction is key. So, what about you? Have you been doing anything to keep your brain sharp? Maybe you've started a new hobby or picked up a book you've been meaning to read. Whatever it is, I want to hear about it. Drop a brain boost in the comments if you're committed to taking care of your mind and staying sharp as you age. Let's support each other in keeping our brains healthy. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode packed with tips to live your best life. Alright, we've covered a lot today: heart health, cancer prevention, respiratory issues, and brain health. These are all key pieces of the puzzle when it comes to maintaining a healthy lifestyle as we age. But don't go anywhere yet. Stick with me, because in the next section, we'll talk about how to prevent one of the most common and dangerous accidents that seniors face: falls and fractures. Alright, let's dive into something that many of us fear but often don't talk enough about: falls and fractures. It might not be the most glamorous topic, but it is one of the most critical issues we face as we age. And here's the reality: falls are a leading cause of injury and death in older adults. In fact, according to the National Council on Aging, every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in the emergency room for a fall. That's a sobering statistic, isn't it? Now, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather focus on living an active, joyful life than spending time in a hospital bed after a fall. But here's the thing: many falls are preventable if we take a few simple precautions. I can speak from experience here because, just a few years ago, I had a fall of my own. It wasn't anything too serious, but I slipped on a wet floor in my kitchen, and I remember that feeling of panic, the fear of not being able to get back up, or the thought of what could have happened if I hadn't caught myself. That experience shook me, and I realized that I needed to take some steps to make my home safer and my body stronger. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that sense of vulnerability as we get older. It's not just about having a fall, it's about what happens after: the fractures, the loss of mobility, and the long recovery periods that can drastically affect our quality of life. So, let's talk about the number one thing we can do to reduce the risk of falls: making sure our homes are safe. I started by going through my house and identifying potential hazards. Little things that might not seem like a big deal, like rugs that could slip or wires in the middle of the floor, can become serious tripping hazards. I made sure to secure all my rugs with non-slip pads, moved any furniture or obstacles that might block walkways, and removed clutter. These simple changes can go a long way in preventing falls. But it's not just about the house, it's about our own bodies. The second thing I realized was that I needed to work on balance and strength. It's something I'd never really thought about before, but as we age, our muscles weaken, and our balance tends to deteriorate. If we don't take the time to maintain strength and coordination, that's when the risk of falling becomes even greater. I'll be honest with you, the thought of doing balance exercises didn't sound very appealing at first. But once I started, I was amazed at how much more stable I felt. I began with simple exercises like standing on one leg for a few seconds, then gradually added in other movements to strengthen my legs and improve my balance. It wasn't hard at all, and I could do most of the exercises right at home. Plus, I started incorporating light strength training into my routine, things like squats, lunges, and using resistance bands. Again, these weren't anything extreme, but they really helped me feel more grounded and sure of myself. I also made sure to wear proper footwear. I know it sounds simple, but trust me, wearing shoes with good support can make all the difference when it comes to preventing falls. I used to wear shoes that were stylish but slippery, big mistake. Once I switched to shoes that were more stable and had non-slip soles, I noticed an immediate improvement in my balance. If you haven't thought about your shoes lately, take a look and make sure they're doing you more good than harm. And while we're on the topic of safety, let's not forget about installing grab bars in key places around the house. Bathrooms, in particular, are one of the most dangerous places for seniors. I know for me, installing grab bars in the shower and near the toilet gave me so much more confidence. It wasn't a huge expense, and it made my bathroom feel like a safer space. I'll tell you, these small steps made a huge difference in how I felt about my own safety. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up this section: staying active. I know it might sound a little counterintuitive. After all, how can we avoid falls if we're moving around more? But here's the secret: regular physical activity can actually improve your balance and coordination, which in turn reduces the risk of falling. It's like building up a safety net for yourself. The more you move, the stronger and more stable you'll become. I started walking more often, doing gentle stretches, and even joined a local exercise class for seniors. The instructor was great at guiding us through exercises specifically designed to improve balance and mobility. And the best part? I didn't feel like I was pushing my body too hard. It was just about being consistent and making sure I stayed active. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to start moving more, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day. Whether it's a walk around the block or stretching your arms and legs, it's all about building strength and flexibility. And the great thing is, it's never too late to start. I'm living proof of that. Let me take a quick moment to ask you, have you experienced a fall or near fall? What changes have you made to make your home safer and reduce your risk of falling? If you're committed to staying safe and steady, drop a "stay upright" in the comments below. I'd love to hear your tips and hear how you're protecting yourself from falls. Plus, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on this journey together, and I'm here to share all the tips and strategies I've learned along the way. Now, as we wrap up this section, I want to leave you with one final thought. Falls don't have to be an inevitable part of aging. With a little attention to your environment, your body, and your routine, you can significantly reduce your risk and maintain your independence. We all deserve to feel safe and confident in our own homes, so let's make those small but powerful changes today. You've got this. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we're going to take a closer look at how we can combine all these steps: heart health, brain health, lung health, strength, and balance, into a comprehensive plan for aging well. I'll be right here with you, guiding you every step of the way. Alright, my friends, we've made it to the final part of today's journey. If you've stuck with me this long, I can't thank you enough. We've covered a lot of ground together: heart health, cancer prevention, respiratory issues, mental clarity, and even fall prevention. Now, it's time to put it all together and talk about how we can take all these steps and make them part of our daily lives. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean slowing down or accepting health issues as just a part of the process. You have the power to protect yourself. But let me take you back to a moment in my own life. A few years ago, I was feeling overwhelmed by all the changes that come with aging. I had concerns about my heart, my lungs, my mind, and yes, I was even afraid of the possibility of a fall. It felt like too much to handle, and I wasn't sure where to start. But then, I realized something important: I didn't have to change everything all at once. What mattered was taking small, consistent actions every day. You see, aging isn't about waiting for something to happen to you. It's about being proactive. It's about being intentional with your health, your habits, and the way you approach each new day. That's when I started combining everything I learned into one simple plan: take care of my body, mind, and environment in small but powerful ways every single day. And that's exactly what I want to encourage you to do. Take everything we've talked about today and think about how you can integrate it into your life. Start with one change, and when that feels good, add another. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Just like I started with walking a little more each day, you can start with small steps too. Let's take a look at what we've learned, and I want you to think about one thing you can do to take action right now. Heart health: have you been mindful of your diet and exercise habits? If you haven't, it's time to make some changes. Start by taking a 10-minute walk today, or make one heart-healthy meal this week. Small steps, big results. Cancer prevention: are you staying up to date on your screenings? If you're due for a checkup, schedule it today. Early detection is a game changer. Respiratory health: have you made your home environment cleaner? If you haven't already, consider getting an air purifier, or at the very least, opening those windows to let in some fresh air. Your lungs will thank you. Brain health: when was the last time you did something to challenge your mind? Start reading a new book, take up a hobby you've always wanted to try, or do a crossword puzzle. Keep your mind sharp. Fall prevention: have you checked your home for tripping hazards? If not, take 10 minutes today to remove anything that could be a danger. And don't forget about your balance. Even standing on one leg for 30 seconds a few times a day can make a difference. I hope you're starting to see how all of these pieces fit together. None of these things are huge, dramatic changes, but when we make them consistently, they add up to a life that's not only longer but healthier and more vibrant. So now, I want to hear from you. What's one change you're going to make today to improve your health? Is it walking a little more? Checking in with your doctor for a screening? Or maybe you're going to start a brain exercise routine? Drop a comment below and let me know what you're committing to. I'd love to hear your plans and cheer you on as you take the first steps toward a healthier future. And before you go, remember, it's never too late to start. Don't wait until tomorrow, because the best time to take care of yourself is right now. Aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. It's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more proactive. I know you can do it. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to hit that thumbs up button and share it with someone who could benefit from it. We're all in this together, and the more we share, the stronger our community becomes. And finally, if you haven't subscribed to the Senior Wisdom channel yet, make sure you do that now. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date on all the latest episodes filled with tips, stories, and inspiration to help you live your best life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Emily Carter, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, the key to a healthy, happy life is consistency. Just take it one step at a time, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay wise, my friends.